Someone stood on a street in Frankfurt, looked directly into a camera, and said the following: "Frankfurt belongs to us. Germany belongs to us. If you are a real man, come to Frankfurt." That was not said in private, not whispered in a closed room. It was broadcast, recorded, shared. And the German government's response was the same response it has given to every incident like this for the past decade. Almost nothing. Stay with me. Because what is happening on German streets, in German trains, at German bus stops, and in German courts right now is not a collection of isolated incidents. It is a system. And the people running that system have finally, after years of silence, started to be contradicted by the one institution in Germany that cannot afford to pretend anymore: the police. To understand why the Police Chief of Hamburg said what he said, you first need to understand what German police officers have been watching on the streets of their own cities. Not occasionally, daily. A man's voice rings out. Frankfurt belongs to us. Germany belongs to us. No mask, no attempt to hide. The words land on TikTok, stamped May 17th, 2024, and ripple across social media. Threads, Instagram, Telegram. Each platform carries the same message, reshared and amplified. Not whispered, not disguised. A public declaration, face blurred but intent unmistakable. This is not a hidden corner of the internet. It's the city square, the train platform, the new soundtrack of daily life in Germany. Politicians reach for familiar phrases: diversity, integration, isolated incident. But the data refuses to cooperate. The Frankfurt Police Annual Report shows a 12% rise in assaults on public service workers from 2020 to 2023. Not a statistical fluke. 96 assaults last year, up from 86. Bus drivers, ticket inspectors, cleaners, people who keep the city running find themselves in the crosshairs. The state offers platitudes. Unions plead for protection. The public grows uneasy, watching the numbers climb. This is not about one viral post or a single angry man. It's about a system where the loudest voices set the tone, and those tasked with order are left exposed. Reports stack up. Warnings go unheeded. The pattern is no longer hidden. It's written in the data, played out on the streets, etched into the daily routine of those told to endure a little more. The silence is breaking. The next voice will come from someone who wears a badge and won't wait any longer. On September 10th, 2023, a 60-year-old bus driver pulled up to the Bockenheimer Landstrasse stop in Frankfurt. He was doing his job, driving the city's lifeblood along its daily route. Then a man stepped forward, no warning, no words, just a metal crowbar swinging hard into the driver's side. 2 blows. A broken rib. The driver collapsed, gasping for air, his uniform stained with pain and disbelief. He spent the next 2 days in hospital, wired to monitors, watching the world he served carry on without him. Police tracked the attacker through shop cameras. 15 minutes later, they had their man. In the courtroom, the facts were plain. The assailant was 24. No known extremist ties, no manifesto, just a willingness to break a stranger's bones. The judge handed down a sentence: 24 months behind bars, half suspended, plus 200 hours of community service at a senior center. The law did its work on paper. The driver's wounds were slower to heal. In an interview, he said he felt utterly shocked and vulnerable, not just by the attack, but by the thought that this might become normal. He joined the Verdi Union's campaign for safer working conditions, demanding action, not platitudes. There is no footage of the attack we can show. German privacy law draws a hard line, but the scars are public. The fear is public. The message is public. Even when the state responds, the people who keep the city running are left to wonder if next time help will come soon enough. November 2nd, 2023. A ticket inspector boards the train between Frankfurt and Wiesbaden, expecting routine checks. Instead, he faces two men, one already flagged by police as part of the Freie Heimat extremist network. There is shouting, a flash of pepper spray, and the inspector is left blinded, skin burning, as passengers retreat. The court responds with 18 months in prison for the attacker and 5 years barred from public service. The verdict lands, but the inspector's words linger. They wanted to intimidate us, and they want state employees to be afraid. This assault is not isolated. Ticket inspectors, cleaning staff, elderly passengers, women traveling alone, each now scan the carriage for threats. They are told to stay calm, to believe attacks are rare, but the reality is different. Vulnerable groups are targeted, and public spaces feel less secure. Complaints rarely lead to change. Often they are dismissed or reframed as prejudice. Headlines warn of racist overreaction when workers speak up. A poll from October shows the split. 58% of Germans support public prayer demonstrations, 28% oppose, and many remain silent. That silence is heavy. For years, victims were told to wait, to trust the system. Now, patience is running out. The old assurances no longer hold. Demands for accountability grow louder in courtrooms, union halls, and across the platforms where fear once went unspoken. May 15, 2024. The Administrative Court of Hesse hands down its answer in case number 4K, 21224. The city wanted a blanket ban on mass street prayers. The court said no. Article 4, freedom of faith. Article 8, freedom of assembly. These are not suggestions, they are rights. The judges did not mince words. If public order is not in real danger, prayer on the street is protected. Not a loophole, not a technicality. A constitutional guarantee, weighed and confirmed. The court did not stop at slogans. It built its ruling on a 4-part proportionality test. First, is there a legitimate aim? Yes, public order. Second, is a ban suitable? No, prayer is peaceful. Third, is it necessary? No, less intrusive steps exist. Fourth, does the balance tip toward the state? Not when organizers cooperate and traffic can be managed. The city's fear of disruption does not outweigh fundamental rights. 2 judges dissented. They warned about uncontrolled gatherings, about Cologne 2022, about the risk of escalation. But the majority set a new baseline. Religious expression, even in the open, is not a threat by default. Constitutional law scholar Dr. Anja Mueller called it a landmark, but warned the test must adapt to real risks. The judiciary has spoken. The space for public faith has been redrawn. The permission is not temporary. It is a new rule. Prayer spills onto the pavement, rows of men, shoulder to shoulder, not hidden or hurried. The court calls it protected faith, but on the street it is something else, a claim, a message drawn on asphalt. This is not just worship. It is about who commands the street, who yields. Berlin has about 90 mosques, enough for Friday prayers, Ramadan, every holy day. Yet the gatherings do not stay inside. They fill intersections and squares long after the ruling. The city is not lacking mosques. The street is chosen on purpose. The message is public, and so is the pressure. Legal permission shifts the balance. What was once rare becomes routine. The street stops being neutral ground, it becomes a stage. Officials call it diversity, but the public sees the street repurposed, the rules rewritten. The old order fades. The next response will not come from City Hall. It will come from those in uniform, tired of being told to look away. April 12, 2024. Hamburg Police Chief Falk Schnabel steps to the microphone and names the threat, Muslim Interaktiv. He calls for a ban, declaring their activities threaten public order and exploit freedom of religion to undermine democracy. The message is blunt, official, and impossible to ignore. Muslim Interaktiv answers on Telegram, calling it political harassment and insisting they are peaceful believers. But the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution has already classified them as anti-constitutional and anti-democratic, subject to surveillance. In Bavaria, the AfD files a bill for a 45 million euros deportation enforcement unit, demanding special police and rapid removals. The backlash is swift. 4,700 marched in Nuremberg, rejecting the machinery of expulsion. In Munich, case 5K87123, a judge grants an injunction, halting new detention rules. The confrontation is public, loud, and irreversible. This is no longer about diversity or integration. It is bus drivers and pensioners left bleeding in public, while Muslim Interaktiv claims the street and the political class hides behind slogans. Falk Schnabel names what others deny. The silence is broken. Germans are finished waiting. The reckoning starts now.